Hello, I thought this would be a good moment to share an update on my everything journal. If you watched my past video, you may have noticed that I did some changes to my cover. I changed some of the stickers. I had a bee over here, but it just fell off. And I found these stickers from, different Studio Ghibli movies, and I love this. And I also tried painting on this material with acrylic markers. So I want to see how long it stays, like that, to see if I may want to paint some future covers. Just play with the exterior of my everything journals. I started this notebook on September 14. And I am in my June pages, so a little over a month. It has become a sort of emotional support notebook where it feels nice to have it with me everywhere I go. So I wanted to share with you some of the things I have in here. Sometimes I do this when I go to coffee shops and I'm struggling to get the words out, and I do a doodle. I have my color pencils with me, and as I start, coloring my doodle, the thoughts and the ideas and the words start to come out. So this is a great exercise. I also do some paint swatches. This is a new set I bought from Winsor & Newton. This is gouache, and yeah, I just wanted to see how they looked on their own. Whenever I have a chance, I love going to coffee shops and I try to doodle the people I see. I loved this phrase. This was on her shirt, but instead of, cramming it in this small space, I decided to make it bigger and on the top. And it's hard to doodle people in real life because first, you can look like a creep just looking intently at people, and I try to be very discreet. And they're moving, so I've been practicing that. And this is the beginning of my journey trying to draw people on locations. Sometimes I just write down a quote and leave it as it is because I want the quote to stand out. This is from a book I've been reading, The Red Book by Carl Jung. And it's a fascinating book because it's very interesting how he talks to his soul. And his way of journaling is so introspective. His way of, writing down his dreams and having conversations with himself and with his soul is very, very interesting. And I have been applying some of the things he does in my own journaling. These faces I did as part of a drawing exercise from an online course I've been taking. And this, I recently bought a new sketchbook. I fell in love with it because it's strongly inspired. Let me show it to you. This sketchbook is absolutely stunning. This is from Guillermo del Toro's movie, The Faun's Labyrinth. And it is all inspired by his own creative journals. So it has a foreword by Guillermo del Toro. I'm obsessed with his work, his perspective, his philosophy, his creative expression, I guess. And this is also from his journals, and also this. So this is a photocopy of this foreword that comes with the sketchbook, because I thought it was so beautiful what he wrote down on journaling and a notebook and a sketchbook. So he says, a notebook is a reliquary, a time capsule, and a confidant. But more than anything, it is an involuntary portrait of who we are. It's just so beautiful. To record is to enshrine. Find the small blessings in your transit through life and leave them behind for like-minded folks. I loved it. So I made a photocopy for my own journal. And this was the belt that came with a sketchbook. So as you can see, I have a little bit of everything. These are more sketches. This is Alice in Wonderland. This is an artist I really like, but her look, I thought it was so beautiful because her glasses had this bright blue rim and her blouse was so colorful. Everything about her look, I loved it. So I have a description of her look because I didn't have colored pencils when I did this at hand. And you know, that's it. Sometimes when I need to see how my week is going to go, I just do my weekly. I don't do every single week. So I think of the more than a month I've been in this notebook, I have only done 2 weeks for planning and 1 week for memory keeping. These are some notes on an interview, you know, someone had with Guillermo del Toro, and I loved his thoughts on art, on love, on disobedience, on death, and dedication to the art. As you can see, yeah, I'm a huge fan of him. And this is why it makes me so happy that I can work with my fountain pen in this journal, because I feel like I can be more playful with my writing when I have a fountain pen because of the way the ink flows, the fine nib. Yeah, I just love it. So those are some notes. These are some thoughts as I was watching the Rings of Power on Amazon. Again, more notes on people I watched at coffee shops. This person, he maybe because I had just watched the Rings of Power, but I thought of him as a modern day elf. His hair was super long, his style, his look, everything was so interesting and fascinating to see. He was a fascinating person to see and beautiful. So I wrote a brief description of him. Someone had these shoes and I liked them a lot, so I took a note of that. These are some sketches. I was trying out some new paints, gouache paints I bought, but I didn't have neither black nor white to mix my paints. That's why it looks so ugh. But I would like to redo these with the proper colors. What else? Same thing here. I was trying out some acrylic markers and some new media I bought. This is while I was on my trip, so I didn't have all my paints and all my art supplies. So this is what I had on location, some of the paints I bought and some of the things that my brother had. So I had to play with it, but yeah, I would like to also redo these with my own things. More sketches and paints. I like to add pages from old books that I break apart because I like to paint over these. And it turned out this was great for this acrylic paint, because when I tried to paint these, it did bleed through the other side. It wasn't too bad, but you know, it's there. I was still able to write on this side of the page, but it was an interesting thing to see how this paper held the paint so well. These are some notes on a YouTube video, another sketch. More sketches. These ones are incomplete, but that happens. I don't, you know, you don't have to finish every single sketch or every single drawing. What's here? So I have some daily task lists scattered here and there all over my notebook, and this is what they look like. This is a poem I heard and I loved it, so I looked for it online and I printed it, and here it is, because you know, it's a source of inspiration. These are more sketches I did when I was in Seattle. This is the Public Market Center, and I wanted to see how I could make things, you know, how to play with the perspective. And I've been challenging myself to do more of this, because whenever I want to sketch a location, you know, there's so much information. it's hard to decide what things to put on paper. So this helped me. This was my first sketch, and then I did something more detailed in here. So I've been playing with this and I want to keep practicing. There's a lot to improve. I need to practice people. For example, these don't look like people, but they're there. And I need to practice also. I mean, I can play with perspective, but I would like these to have more depth. They look very 2D. What else? Some thoughts I had, you know, and I wanted to write them down. And when I want those thoughts to not get lost in the middle of, you know, this big notebook, I leave the whole page to that single thought. That way it's easier to find, and I don't know, it looks more clean. And more duels, Day of the Dead. And this is an example of what I do when I go to a coffee shop. So Linda Barry has this exercise. Let me find the book, wait. And I will keep recommending this book because I think it's just absolutely great for anyone wanting to have a creative life. Doesn't matter what you do. So she has this exercise for a quick diary format where you write what you did, 7 things, what you saw, something you heard someone say, and you draw a picture. And I like this idea, but this is not my style. So I go to a coffee shop. I like to do this when I'm in a location because it forces me to pay attention. So I write the date, the time, the place. And I was writing that a family was next to me. They had a different accent from South Mexico, and I asked them where they're from. I had a small conversation, and I write down pieces of conversations I hear around me, descriptions of the people that I see. One of the good things about visiting the same coffee shop over and over and over is that you start, you become friends or acquainted with people that also go there regularly. And you start to identify those who are, you know, part of the family, of the coffee shop family, the new ones, and those are the kinds of things I write. And this helps me, you know, warm up before I want to, you know, go deeper with my writing. And it can be so simple as I see a family to my right, there's a man on his own on my left, there are 3 lamps on the ceiling, the coffee shop is almost empty or is very full, there's a lot of noise, and then I start, you know, I open quotation marks and I write pieces of conversations that I hear. So that brings me fully to the present, to the place and the time where I'm at. And I don't know, the days when I don't have at least 15 minutes to do this, either at a park when I take my son, or a coffee shop, or you know, anywhere, when I don't have those moments to sit down and record a piece of, you know, this is where I am, this is what I see, this is what I hear, I feel like I didn't own my day in a very strange way. I guess there's something very therapeutic about this. I mean, it's very, you know, it's mindfulness in its prime, is being very present. And this helps me warm up to continue writing thoughts, ideas, short stories, anything, just continue writing. And I feel so calm and relaxed for the rest of the day when I have these moments. Another doodle inspired by the Day of the Dead, which is coming. And many people think that Day of the Dead is about glorifying death, and it is actually about celebrating life, you know, is being aware that we all have, you know, an expiration date here, and it's about celebrating the lives of those who have departed, and being very aware that our life is also, you know, we're not going to be here forever, and we should enjoy and celebrate. That's why Day of the Dead is very colorful. It looks like a big party. It's about celebrating life and not fearing death. So I guess that's why I like this celebration so much. And yeah, this is what I did today. I continued on the other side, and this is pretty much how I use my everything journal. I want to do a more in-depth look into how I have been memory keeping in here. Maybe tomorrow as I finish this week and prepare the next one. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below, and I will see you in the next one.